your era. I always call it the Hogan era because obviously Hulk is kind of the one that he made it mainstream. Hulk is the one that made it big time. Like, what is your kind of thoughts when people kind of reflect back and they look at that era? Like, why did it become as popular as it did, and why did Hulk resonate so much?
Well, I told him the truth. I said, first of all, Hulk, bigger-than-life character, number one. And he got on the front of something. You know, nobody had ever heard of WrestleMania before when Vince put it together. And we did the Rock and Wrestling connection with Cyndi Lauper, and that brought in a lot of the mainstream, television networks and stuff, too. And one thing led to another. And all of a sudden, when you've got somebody bigger than life and something on TV, and TV wasn't overexposed back then either, so it was kind of must-see TV whenever you could get around a TV so you could see it.
What did you think of Hulk, like, when you just think about him back then? Because it's like, wow, this guy took the world by storm and really made wrestling mainstream and made it pop culture, made it a global phenomenon.
Well, I'd met him in Memphis years and years ago when it was a local territory, when he came in there where Jerry Lawler brought him in for me to manage him against the King. And when he came in, we started becoming friends back then. And so then he went to New York. I went to New York 3 years later. And then we became friends again, and we've been friends now for 43 years.
And what is Hulk like? Is it, he's so larger than life, but is he a down to earth, normal, just regular guy, or is he bigger than that?
What you see is what you get. He's down to earth. He does, back in the day he did so many make-a-wishes and everything, which kept him humble always. And it's just he's like everybody else, trying to make a living and keep it going, and trying to make sure you can keep your health going, because so many of our wrestling friends have passed away over the last few years. And so, like I said, what you see is what you get. He's got a restaurant, of course, in Clearwater Beach, Florida. He's got a beach shop there, too, and it's been going on for like 8 or 9 years now. So you must be doing something right if you're staying in business 8 or 9 years.
Last year I went down to the beach shop and Hogan's Hangout, his bar and restaurant, and then this past year, a few weeks ago, I was just at the beach shop in Orlando. So I love the Hulkster, but I love all that stuff. I mean, it's awesome that the beach shop is still hanging and banging. They're still doing great.
Well, having all that memorabilia, and then it kind of reminds everybody of their past. Like I said, it's hard to kill a memory.
And to me too, it's almost like he's like a larger-than-life superhero. I mean, we're going back to 84, 85, but to me, it's like, man, there's Superman over here, but Superman's a cartoon. This guy is a real superhero.
Yeah, and it's hard. You don't see a lot of the heroes back anymore. TV and the life moves so fast now with social media, you don't really have a chance to really latch on to anything anymore. So he's part of that Americana, and kind of like the Elvis Presley of wrestling,
Absolutely. It's funny, there was that always debate, was it Vince McMahon or was it Hulk? But, right, you need both of them together to make that thing work.
Both together. Vince used to say 2 sticks are harder to break than one, and I think Vince brought something to the table, and so did Hulk, and both of it together, it was just a great marriage between both of them. So both of them working together made this whole big deal with WWE bigger than life back then.
And then I also love, like, obviously Hogan's theme, Real American, was super memorable, but his WCW theme, American Made, I mean, that was awesome when you guys did that. I guess it was like kind of like the Hulk Hogan band, if you will.
Well, absolutely, and Jimmy was part of that, because we had to come up with something that was different than Real American, but something that kind of had the same tone and the same story, and that's what we came up with. And we cut that off that was off Hulk's album that we did, the Wrestling Boot Band. So that turned out pretty good for us. So Eric liked it, and that's why we used it at WCW.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news